you ready to question everything? Tune in. Yo. It's midnight in Missouri. Turn the lights low. Let the truth glow. Robert and Crew. We vibing with you.
KC stars align. Podcast on, we crossing every line. Tartaria towers, hidden in the mist. Hollywood shadows, what they hid on the list. UFOs dancing over Independence Town. JFK whispers, we flip the whole thing round. Crew in the chat, Julie dropping facts. Multiverse theory, we never going back. Beat synchronizing, truth seekers unite, no compromises. Screens glow purple, feel the energy surge. Robert hit the switch, now we on the verge. Robert and Crew, light up the night. Conspiracy crew, we taking flight. Tartaria dreams in the strobe light flash. Drop the bass, heavy, hear the thunder crash. Robert and Crew, vibe so high, paranormal flow to the morning sky. From mystery streets to the cosmic unknown, tuning every week.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your host, Robert, and I'm here tonight by myself. So, with that being said, I will not be doing the alien show tonight. That's something that I had planned with Crew. So, we can basically... Yeah, it's just me tonight. Crew's asleep. He done passed out, Julie. So, I was thinking that I'm going to be on here for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, but I thought about talking about what's going to be going on the 16th. So, and y'all can feel free to ask questions. It's perfectly fine if you ask questions. I don't mind it. Let's see. So, on the 16th, we have a special guest coming on. She is a crystal healer, or she believes in crystal healing and basically kind of like witchy stuff. So it's going to be fairly interesting. We're going to talk about religion, some stuff going on with her, like crystal healing, how she got into it, what she believes, things like that. Let me see. Let's pop up some stuff here. Okay, so going on right now in the world. There's quite a bit going on right now in the world, ain't there, Julie? Quite a bit. So, let's go on to this over here. It says that NASA just uploaded some new photos from Artemis. Let's check these out. So, ultimately, the images will be put into NASA's planetary data system, which archives all digital data from planetary science missions, making them accessible to researchers. Here are some of the favorite images from the recent Artemis 2 drop. So, obviously, it's one of Earth and some stars, I guess, but they're calling it the Hello World photo. Looks kind of like the blue marble, if you ask me. But Hello World was one of the first photos that Artemis 2 crew sent to their team back on Earth. It features an upside-down view of the planet, relative to how the Earth is usually presented, with northern Africa and Spain on the left, the Atlantic Ocean in the middle, and parts of South America on the right. It also captures two green auroras on the opposite sides of the planet, in the top right and the bottom left, as the Earth eclipses the sun. This photograph is called Earthiest photo. This photo of the Earthset, an unusual term for most people, shows our home planet appearing to fall below the moon's horizon. It falls in the footsteps of the Earthrise photos that the Apollo 8 crew members snapped almost 6 decades ago. Oh my God, look at that picture over there. That's the Earth coming up. Apollo 8 astronaut William Anders, who snapped the iconic image, said in 1968, according to NASA. Wow, that is pretty. In the newer photo, Earth is dropping behind the moon instead, but there's no arguing over the beauty of both perspectives. So this is the photo they're talking about. And you know, it is a beautiful photo, but just parts of me, I don't know, I just feel like it's CGI. Then we got the silver Earth shines bluish white against the backdrop of space, and the image taken on the day 3 of the mission. So this is just, I guess, a part of Earth, but this isn't that cool to me. I don't think that's that awesome. And then the moon landing craters, the crew suggested naming Integrity and Carol. Photo ID IDARTTOT 02E9851 NASA. During the mission, the crew proposed names for 2 lunar craters, Integrity after the Orion spacecraft and Carol in honor of Wiseman's late wife, Carol Taylor Wiseman. They both appear in this image of the moon's surface near the huge Orion Tail Basin, with the dark center, though they are easier to identify with the help of some labels. The International Astronomical Union, which names celestial bodies and their features, will determine whether the 2 titles will become official. So that's kind of cool. Then we have this image shows we have the starry night. This image shows blurred star trails streaking across the sky, as well as the Milky Way galaxy, according to Forbes. This bright trails show the paths of the stars moving across the sky from the perspective of the photographer. They are usually captured through long exposures taken over the course of minutes or hours, according to Earth Sky's Bruce McClure. When photographed on Earth, it's technically the planet that's spinning, not the stars. So this is weird. I don't know if I trust this photo, but that's just me. Then this photo looks so fake. I'm so sorry. I hate to bust your bubble here, but this looks like they literally photoshopped an image of the moon onto a backdrop of a void and then added stars. That's just my personal opinion, though. It looks really fake. And they call it solar eclipse photo. As if the mission wasn't exciting enough, on April 6th, the astronauts witnessed a solar eclipse that wasn't visible to humans back on Earth and never will be. According to the BBC Sky Night magazine, Ian Todd, when a solar eclipse occurs from Earth's point of view, humans always see the same side of the moon slip in front of the sun, because it's the side that permanently faces our planet. The Artemis 2 crew, however, saw the sun disappear for nearly an hour behind a different side of the moon. Then we have the moon, including Valvolo crater, the large circular feature on the left. So this one right here. The moon's surface pockmarked with craters. This image features Vavilov crater on the rim of the older, much bigger Hertzsprung basin, which appears more lit up and takes up most of the photo. The basin is on the far side of the moon, which is never visible from Earth. When the Orion spacecraft traveled behind the moon, NASA lost contact as planned with Artemis 2 crew for around 40 minutes. So those are the new pictures that they dropped. This one looks hella fake. It's just some of these photos are so shitty. Did I hear about what President Trump said? Something about he didn't care about America financially. It's a neat photo, but it really is a true. But is it really a true picture of it? And yeah, it does look fake. I did hear that Trump said something about how he didn't care about Americans financially. Let's see if we can pull that up. That's an interesting story. So, Sir Trumpelstein says that he doesn't care about America's financially. All right, here we go. I pulled it up, Julie. Let's see this. Trump says he doesn't care even a little bit about people's finances. The president made a jaw-dropping confession when asked about the impacts of the Iran war. President Trump could not care less about your financial struggles. The man who pledged to fight for unseen Americans by lowering prices and ending endless wars. Oh no. Oh no, he didn't end endless wars. Terrible. He did lie though. He was supposed to do that. But he pledged to fight for unseen Americans by lowering prices and ending endless wars. Isn't doing it either, and remained adamant that he's still on the right path forward when asked about it on Tuesday. When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal? A reporter asked Trump before he left for China on Tuesday, alluding to the skyrocketing inflation caused by the fallout from the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran and Lebanon. Trump says, not even a little bit, Trump said, shockingly out of touch for him. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran is they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about the one thing: we cannot have let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That is all. That's the only thing that motivates me.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American
what's going on?
I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing: we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that motivates.
So there you have it. Yes, Trump said he does not care about our financial situation at all. But is that really a surprise? Hey, how are you doing, Falopin? I hope you're having a great night. So yeah, Julie, that's terrible. Trump should have kept his mouth shut, to be quite honest. Doesn't care about America's financial or Americans' financial situations. That's an absurd thing to say, but I also understand his view. He thinks he's doing the best thing possible in the Iran war right now, and that is taking care of whatever he thinks he's doing by blockading them and shutting down the strait or trying to reopen it or whatever he claims. And now he's in China. So, or was in China. I don't know if he still is. If you heard about anything else crazy, Julie, that you'd want to talk about? Let's see. Okay. So this one's interesting. This is about Alligator Alcatraz. Let's see this. Okay, so Alligator Alcatraz, the controversial Florida migrant detention facility, expected to close, sources says. Oh, so we're going to close it. Florida is expected to wind down its Alligator Alcatraz migrant detention facility sometime this summer, according to source familiar with the planning. Vendors at the site were told Tuesday that the detainees will be removed by the start of June and the center will be dismantled in the following weeks. 3 people familiar with the facility's operations told the New York Times. WFOR reported similar details about notices given to state contractors who run the facility, citing 4 sources familiar with the announcement. Though the facility embedded deep into the Florida Everglades has been touted by Republicans as a valuable tool in President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, the closure follows nearly a year of legal challenges, mounting operational costs and allegations of inhumane conditions. Last week, the Times reported that Florida was in talks with the Trump administration about shutting down the facility, which has the cost state of millions of dollars to run. Governor Ron DeSantis acknowledged the talks during the remarks of last week and said the facility was always intended to be temporary. If we shut the lights out tomorrow, we will be able to say it served its purpose, DeSantis said Thursday. When asked about reports that Alligator Alcatraz will be shut down, DeSantis' office late Tuesday referred CNN to the Florida Division of Emergency Management, which oversees the facility. A spokesperson told the Division of the Emergency Management reiterated DeSantis' comment from last week and added, if federal operational needs evolve around the Department of Homeland Security and implements alternative plans for the South Florida detention facility, the state will pivot accordingly. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement on CNN Tuesday, any reports that DHS is pressuring the state to cease operations at Alligator Alcatraz are false. Florida continues to be a valuable partner in advancing President Trump's immigration agenda, and DHS appreciates their support. DHS continuously evaluates detention needs and requirements to ensure they meet the latest operational requirements, the agency said. It's not immediately clear where the detainees will be taken. The site held nearly 1,400 people as early as April, according to ICE data. DeSantis indicated last week that if the program was shuttered, detainees may be placed in DHS facilities, and the small airport that housed Alligator Alcatraz would return to normal operations. The facility, which is less than 50 miles west of Trump's Miami Beach resort, was opened by the state last summer after being speedily erected on the runway of the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport. It invited immediate backlash from Democratic lawmakers, immigrants' rights groups, environmentalists, and tribal groups whose lands flank the facility. Democrats who visited the facility last summer described hundreds of migrants confined in cages and subjected to sweltering heat, bug infestations, meager meals, though detainees' families have also expressed alarm. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials have defended the facility as offering higher detention standards than many U.S. prisons. Alligator Alcatraz has overcome previous existential threats in court last month. An appellate court vacated a lower court's order from the state officials to shut down and dismantle the facility. After complaints from families and detainees about limited access to attorneys, another lawsuit recently resulted in ruling that the detainees must be given better access to their lawyers, as well as confidential, unmonitored outgoing phone calls. That's interesting. So they don't want any phone call, or they want the migrants to be able to make phone calls without being basically watched or listened in on. But isn't the point of people being in migrant detention centers isn't the point that we're constantly watching them anyways, and because they're not necessarily supposedly good people? I mean, unless Trump, went against what he said and just started going after every illegal immigrant, not just the bad ones, which, in my opinion, I always thought that the better way to go around it was go after the ones that were committing crimes, not the ones that were working and trying to provide for their families. So that's a little disgusting that that's going on. But nothing surprises me anymore. Not with Trump. Absolutely nothing surprises me anymore with that man. I think it's sad. I think it's very sad. To get onto the topic real quick, I know I told you guys that I'm doing the Alien UFO episode tomorrow with Crew. But I did want to show this specific video because it just gets me, and it's so crazy. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on this video and the legitimacy behind it.
Infrared footage from the U.S. military in 2013 shows a star-shaped object hovering in the sky above an unknown location as it leaves behind a white trail. Another image from the Apollo 17 mission to the moon showing what appears to be lights above the lunar surface. These videos are part of the 162 UFO files the Pentagon released Friday, months after President Trump directed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to declassify records of sightings that date back generations.
It's a big deal, given that 80 years, our government has never acknowledged anything for 80 years. Today, they're like, hey, check these out.
The longtime UFO researcher Dan Harari says the release of the never-before-seen government files won't be the proof he and his colleagues need to show there's extraterrestrial life. They want a world leader to acknowledge it.
But it's not the whole enchilada. It's a baby step forward.
He says this data don't.
Okay, so this is the one that I'm most interested in. What do we think about this? This one is by far the most interesting UFO footage that they have released, in my opinion. And honestly, it reminds me of the biblical the biblical description of angels in the Bible. I know it's probably not an angel, so don't jump my gun right now, but I get it. This one in particular blows my freaking mind. I don't know what it is. But if there is a parachute behind it, how's it moving like that? And why is it moving like that? So, Julie, you're saying that there was a photo of people holding an alien, and you heard that it was an April Fool's joke. The photo that you're talking about, I am not sure. It's a paraglider. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I need more context on the footage itself, and I'd like it if, the footage that we're given didn't have redaction bubbles on it. I think that's pretty ridiculous, in my personal opinion. A lot of the UFO stuff coming out, like, I wanted it to be real so bad, but I later on figured out, myself that most of this is probably hoopla. Like, most of it is probably just crap on a stick. I'm waiting for the government to release another drop, but who knows? Who knows what we're going to see? It could all just be a distraction from everything going on. You saw someone breaking down the video, and there's indeed a black parachute on the top left, just not heat trail. Also, did you know they erased a UFO file? I did not know that they erased one. Do we know what was in the erased UFO file, or did they erase it before it went out to the public? Yeah, they released a bogus memo. Look it up. Okay. All I'm seeing is, as of February 23rd, 2026, the Black Vault, run by a researcher and ufologist John Greenwald Jr. had its main server reportedly wiped clean on February 20th, deleting about 3.8 million files, and it was wiped clean. So I looked that up. I am not seeing anything popping up, Elmsta. I do believe you, though. UFOs and the guy Hotel Memo. I don't know. The Hodl Memo or something. It's the most popular file in the FBI vault, our high-tech electronic reading room. This isn't talking about one that's deleted. It's basically it's saying that this is the most looked at memo in the UFO files. I'm not. That's the Reddit title. Okay, so I'll go to Reddit real quick. Okay, let me see if I can find this on Reddit real quick. The twinning memo, long rumored to be real, has now been officially released by the U.S. government, signed. Interesting document. I'm looking it up. I'm not seeing anything. UFO files are being heavily redacted, of course. Everything wild. Researchers, another signal change, elite government, alien footage, still on YouTube. Eric Davis admit to writing Wilson Davis memo in a Facebook post. Deleted. Bogus memo UFO files. Okay, so the Wilson memo, this document allegedly leaked in 2019, a meeting of Admiral Wilson and scientist Eric Davis about the government's knowledge of a crashed UFO. We'll never know for sure if it's real, but they think it is. JFK UFO memo, a declassified memo from the November 12th, 1963, signed by JFK, reveals UFO intelligence review and NASA collaboration. Deleted disclosure file. Here we go. Deleted disclosure file. They had a material which exhibits characteristics beyond no aboard the USS Eisenhower in 1965. Just a few hours passed from the disclosure and they're already deleting files. So glad I was able to save this one. The memorandum says, reference to be made to oral direction provided by the Joint Chiefs of Staff regarding redacted, referred to as Roselle. As of May 27th of 1985, the material remains in transit aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, CVN 69, currently operating in the North Atlantic, part of the 6th Fleet. Transport is being conducted, redacted, containment system installed within redacted. Below the main deck and isolated from standard shipboard power grids. The material which exhibits characteristics beyond known redacted in the ship's SCIF environment. Commanding Officer USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, Captain R.C. Mackey, USN, is executing orders as briefed, and the crew remains compartmented from the true nature of the cargo and associated operations. Next weekly report will be submitted in NLT 03 June 1985 or sooner, should significant developments warrant, for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, They say that one got deleted, Elmsta. I guess there's a couple disclosure files that have been wiped from it. I'm just so tired of them basically redacting things that we have, that they tell us that we should have the right to know about, and then they release a file or they release a video or they release a memo or whatever, and half the gosh darn thing is redacted. What's the point of releasing it if it's so redacted that you can't barely even understand what it's saying? Like, don't release it then. We don't need that. It was pointed out the memo was fake and wasn't real. I don't know why they released it. Yeah, because half of the crap they released was already known by the public, and the other half is under extreme scrutiny. So, and you know, people like Tim Burchett has said multiple times that basically they don't believe that they're going to release legitimate files that will change everything for us. Yeah, so the lady does for work basically, so they redacted that. That's fine. I mean, that doesn't bother me too much, but you know, with the JFK files, the Epstein files, the UFO files, I mean, I don't feel like we're being told the truth ever. It doesn't feel like that, at least. What are your thoughts on remote viewing, Elmsta? Oh yeah, a lot of redactions in the Epstein files. Too many redactions, in my personal opinion. Oh yeah. I do remember that. It's all a distraction, Julie. It feels like it, at least. They screwed up they screwed up what's going on right now in Iran with the Iran war. The Epstein files, the only people that have received any justice or have been brought to justice have been in Europe or other countries. America apparently likes to protect sick individuals. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out and says that she signed a whole bunch of stuff demanding the release of the files completely unredacted. And I guess Trump basically just laughed at her and said that she needed to bring back or she needed to back off because it would hurt his friends. She swears up to that. Trump said some disgusting things about how he thinks that Marjorie Taylor Greene's son should die or something. I'll pull that up real quick, but absolutely disgusting. Okay. So this is what it says here. It says Trump's disturbing reply after learning MTG's son received death threats revealed by insider. President Donald Trump allegedly sent disturbing messages to Marjorie Taylor Greene after she revealed that her son was receiving death threats. This week, Tucker Carlson sat down with his brother Buckley, who used to write Trump's speeches in 2015. The brothers lamented their previous support for Trump, with Tucker revealing he's sorry for misleading people about his support for the president. During the sit-down, the brothers discussed Trump's treatment of Greene, who had only been one of President's most loyal supporters before their public fallout. Tucker mentioned that Greene had sent Trump a message explaining that her 22-year-old son Derek was receiving death threats because of her disagreement with the president over the Jeffrey Epstein files. And Trump responded to her by text message and said, "He deserves it. It's your fault," Carlson claimed. People were threatening her kid's life, and Trump said, no, you brought this on him. That's absolutely disgusting if that's true. Buckley called Trump's words disgusting and outrageous. I completely agree with that. Greene, a mother of three, reportedly forwarded threatening messages to FBI Director Kash Patel, Vice President J.D. Vance, and other top White House officials. She opened up about the upsetting incident herself in an interview with Piers Morgan recently, saying, "I even texted the president, and I was so upset over the death threats on my children because of him." Greene told Morgan, "I reached out to the president to let him know that this is what's happening because what you are saying about me, and he was very unkind about these death threats. And so was our last exchange was on text message." The former congresswoman said the president had no compassion over the threats and blamed them on her. "He blamed me, basically, that if my son were to get killed, it would be my fault." Greene said she told Trump no one's children should ever be the victim of death threats or have any kind of political violence brought on them because of our politics, because of our disagreements, but he had no compassion whatsoever. She said the president's response was like a nail in the coffin and tells me exactly who Donald Trump is. According to Greene, some of the biggest political enemies would never say that to me. Greene started to turn away from the MAGA movement in 2025. Okay, I don't really care about the defection. But yeah, so that's absolutely outrageous in my personal opinion. Why would you go around and say that crap? It's usually remote viewing. I don't believe in, honestly. I think it's just manipulation. You ever heard of the quote, "It's easier to manipulate a manipulator"? That's how I felt in therapy. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people don't do very well in therapy because, you know, therapists do have a way of kind of low-key manipulating people and implanting ideas. Some are good at their jobs and others do it for the wrong reasons. What MTG is crazy. I've been to a few palm readers and fortune tellers. None were true. Laughed my ass off. Yeah, no, palm readers and psychics and stuff, it's a hit and miss. I've only met one person that I truly believed was a psychic, and that was because they had a dream about something that literally happened to me about 2 or 3 months after they told me about what was going to happen. And it was about basically it was about one of my family members and how they were going to go through a really rough patch and then pass away. And it happened. And it really did kind of change my view on like psychic ability. I think we humans do possess some kind of psychic ability. I don't know if I believe in fortune tellers, though, or any of that. I think some of that is mumbo jumbo. Just think of remote viewing existed, we would have found Osama day one. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things with remote viewing that don't make a lot of sense. Like, why would we not use it to locate weapons of mass destruction or take out Osama bin Laden or even, stop certain events from happening. It's a very odd thing. My cat is like freaking out over here in the corner. I don't know if you guys can see him or not. It's his little furry head. Well, like I said, on the 16th, we're going to have a special guest on who is going to be talking about her life, how she grew up, her interest in crystals and crystal healing, and her religious views, and basically everything to do with crystals. So that's going to be interesting. Julie said, a friend of mine passed away yesterday, but I kind of had a feeling that he wouldn't make it, but I didn't want to mention it to others. Yeah, that's called intuition. I mean, that's a real thing. Have you ever heard of the spy curveball? That's the person in Iraq who said they worked on weapons. I haven't heard about that, but I'll look it up real quick. So Rafid Ahmed Alwan al-Janbi, known by the Defense Intelligence Agency as Curveball, is a German-French citizen who defected from Iraq in 1999, claiming he had worked as a chemical engineer at a plant that manufactured mobile biological weapon laboratories. As a part of an Iraq weapons of mass destruction program, Alwan's allegations were subsequently shown to be false by Iraqi Surveys Group's final report published in 2004. Despite warnings from the United States, Central Intelligence Agency, German Federal Intelligence Service, and British Secret Service Intelligence Service questioning the authenticity of the claims, the U.S. and British governments utilized them to build rationale for military action in the lead up to the 2003 invasion of Iraq, including in the 2003 State of the Union address, where the U.S. President George W. Bush said, "We know that Iraq in the late 1990s had several mobile biological weapons labs," and U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell's presentation to the United Nations Security Council, which contained a computer-generated image of a mobile biological weapons laboratory. They were suggested to be mobile production trucks for artillery balloons. On the 24th of September in 2002, the British government published a dossier on the former Iraqi leader's WMD with a personal foreword by the British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who assured the readers that the Iraqi President Saddam Hussein had continued to produce weapons of mass destruction beyond doubt. On the 4th of November 2007, the U.S. television program 60 Minutes revealed Curveball's real identity. Former CIA Tyler Drumheller summed up Curveball as a guy trying to get his green card, essentially, in Germany and playing the system for what it was worth. Alwan lives in Germany, where he has been granted asylum. In February of 2011, an interview with British newspaper The Guardian, Alwan admitted for the first time that he lied about his story and then watched in shock as it was used to justify the war. Well, sounds like he made a mistake. That's crazy. So anyways, guys, I'm actually going to have to hop off tonight. Hopefully we can get Crew on here tomorrow for the Alien episode. He definitely fell asleep tonight, but I don't blame him. I was tired the other night or two, and I couldn't stay up myself. Like I said, make sure you tune in on the 16th. We have a special guest, Crystal Healing, her views on witchcraft and religion, and the way that she grew up in life. And I think it's going to be a very interesting episode. So please tune in. It's going to be more of like an interview with this lady. This interview is going to take place a little earlier than normal, probably about 9 p.m. my time. I believe she's an hour ahead, and she asked if she could do it at 10 p.m. So the podcast on the 16th is going to be at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. her time, 9 p.m. our time. All right, but with that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on and talk and look up these stories. I always enjoy talking to you, Julie, and I always enjoy talking to you, Elmsta. And to the new person that we saw in the chat tonight, I hope you have a wonderful night too. Much love from the Robin and Crew Show. Peace.